Today we're going to be talking about the Ring of Barahir. Welcome to Heart of a Halfling. We're going to talk about Lord of the Rings and a little bit about D&D, so let's get to it. So today I wanted to talk about the Ring of Barahir, but I also wanted to make it. So let's get started with that. Alright, so the Ring of Barahir was fashioned in Valinor by Finrod Felagund, or most likely by Finrod Felagund. He's the one who had it. And Finrod, it says that when we had the exodus to Middle-earth, that he was the prince who had the most treasures from Valinor, and that's kind of how he paid the dwarves and their aid to building Nargothrond. And so this ring would have been one of those items most likely. And during the Battle of Dagor Bragolak, or the Battle Set in Flame, Finrod Felagund was separated from his group, trying to travel south, and was rescued by Barahir and a group of his bravest men who came in and surrounded Finrod with a wall of spears and basically cut their way out of battle, and therefore rescuing Finrod and allowing him to be able to go back to Nargothrond. Well, Finrod wanted to show his alliance and friendship with the man that saved his life, and he gives Barahir this ring, the Ring of Barahir. And this ring is to show that Finrod has made this vow to Barahir and his kin, his lineage, his family, that he will aid them in any point of need. And so Barahir ends up being killed by orcs after we have the slaying of all of his 12 bravest men. To get that story, check out this video from last Thursday. And so Barahir is now killed by a group of orcs, and Sauron is holding his severed hand, showing Barahir's son, Beren, that his father is killed, and the hand is still holding his ring. And so Beren now does this sort of rescue type mission to go and retrieve his father's body to avenge his father, and takes back the hand so that his father can lay entirely in rest. But he keeps the ring. Now, Beren goes on his quest to seek out the Silmarils, and to get that story, you'll have to come back Thursday for that story. But in part of that, he has to go to Finrod to ask for aid, and he's able to show the Ring of Barahir to, show that it is Finrod's ring and the vow that he's kept. And so Finrod now aids Beren, and to the point of Finrod's death. And the ring's sort of journey after this is a little vaguer, not entirely sure what happens, but basically, essentially, it goes to Dior, Beren and Luthien's son, and then he passes on to his daughter Elwing, who passes it to her son Elrose, and it finds its way into Numenor. And this kind of becomes like this heirloom of the kings of Numenor coming to Tar Elendil. Now, Elendil has a son who's to take the throne, but he doesn't give it to his son. Instead, he gives the ring to his daughter, Silmarien. And she's obviously not allowed to take the throne, but she does end up giving the ring to her son, Valandil, who becomes the first lord of Andunier. And so now the ring kind of gets handed down a little bit more and is kind of kept within the faithful, or the group of Numenorians, or people who are still faithful to the Valar and to Valinor. And so when we have the fall of Numenor, it's the faithful that escape, and so the ring is kind of kept with them and continues on. So we find that in the Third Age, the ring is still kind of being passed on in the line of Elendil, and it becomes an heirloom of the kings of Arnor, and then the kings of Arthedain, until we have the fall of Arthedain. So with the last king of Arthedain, the ring is then given to the chief of Losoth of Forokel, and then there's this gap. There's this time where years later it ends up getting ransomed by the Rangers of the North, and is then kept safe in Rivendell, where it's given to Elrond. And here, Elrond is basically told, like, to hold on to it until Aragorn comes of age, where he'll receive the ring and the shards of Narsil. So now the Ring of Barahir is in the hands of Aragorn, which is how everybody knows that, it's another sign that Aragorn is king of Gondor. And then from here, he gives it to Arwen, and they marry, and then after that, it's a little unknown what happens. So either it gets buried with Arwen when she passes away, or what I would assume would most likely happen is that it continues to be passed on to Aragorn's sons and their sons and sons and sons. But there you go. So the Ring of Barahir, that's given to Finrod, or that's from Finrod Felagund, given to Barahir, makes its whole way down to the hands of Aragorn, which I think is really cool. So that's the ring that we've made. So let's get started with that. So this ring is from an STL from Thingiverse, and if you're interested, I'll leave a link in the description. But this is a remaking of the Ring of Barahir, or the Ring of Aragorn, and it is the design of Aragorn's ring is slightly different than how the ring is described, but it's still a really cool ring. We still have the two serpents with the crowns, and they're golden crowns of flower, and the emerald eyes and everything. So it's still a really cool item. And so I am 3D printing it here on our resin printer. And we had to do this a couple of times. It kind of failed the first time, but we're able to get it to work. And so we got it printed. And then once it was printed, we obviously cured it, which is my absolute favorite part of resin making. I love the little cure machine. It looks like something from Star Trek. Anyway, so we cured it. So this is the ring right after being cured. Nothing's done to it. We do have a clear resin. And then my husband primed it for me. So here's the primed version. And then we spray painted it silver. Now this project was a very small project. It was actually our most challenging thing that we've done in a while, because it is so hot and humid here. It was so hard to be able to find like the right time to prime and spray paint this, but it got done. We primed it, just a gray primer, and then we went over that with a silver metallic spray, so that it kind of has this, silver tint to it, I guess. Like, it still looks fake, but you get the gist. This is costume jewelry. And then from there, I painted it. So the gold parts of the ring, of like the little crowns on it, that's just regular acrylic paint. But the emerald color is actually like an alcohol based enamel paint. And so it kind of gives it a little bit of a different texture. And I totally forgot to film me adding the emerald eyes, but emerald eyes were included in this. They were just kind of included as an afterthought. I kind of forgot about it until later. But yeah, so we made the Ring of Barahir. This is a short video, but I still hope you guys really enjoyed this one. Green jewels gleamed there that the Noldor had devised in Valinor, for this ring was like to twin serpents, whose eyes were emeralds, and their heads met beneath the crown of golden flowers, that the one upheld and the other devoured. That was the badge of Finarfin and his house. So there we go. We have made our Ring of Barahir, which I think is really cool. It's nothing too fancy, but it's pretty neat. I think it's neat anyway, so there we go. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed this very quick telling of the history of Aragorn's ring from the films and the Ring of Barahir. Come back Thursday if you want to hear more and more of the details of what happens with the ring and with Beren and Luthien. But otherwise, I hope you guys have a wonderful week, a blessed week, and may your homes be filled with food and cheer. Bye.